Hey guys, this is Coaching It Up number 3. It's an early Monday morning and the sun is shining and I'm in good spirits, I'm in a good mood. I actually just finished making the bloopers, which you will be able to see at the end, as always. And those are always fun, they always get me in good spirits actually. Like, it used to be, I start the recording, I say some crappy stuff, I screw up on the recording, and I'm like, ugh, that sucks. Now I'm actually thinking, well, I'm recording this, and this is going to be funny because I'm going to be putting it in the end as a bloopers, and it should be fun. So it actually gets me laughing, and it cracks me up a little. So that kind of works in our favor. Well, so Olivia and me are ready for some Coaching It Up action this morning. We also put a little sign in remembrance of Todd up here. He still won it. I mean, if anybody has him, if anybody sees this video and he has him and he sees this picture, maybe he decides to send him back. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he sees his own picture, he sees Olivia and he gets all jealous and saying, well, I want to be up there again together with my buddy Flix and I want to kick out this owl. And maybe he finds his way back home. So, what are we going to do today in today's episode? I'm going to be reviewing some stuff that got sent to me by a Grinding It Up Gang member who goes by the screen name of Jerome1. So thank you very, very much, Jerome1, for recording this 5NL 6 Max Zoom poker session on 3 tables. You also provided your HUD, which I'm not going to go into too much, because I'm not that much of a HUD guy, but nonetheless, it comes in quite handy. So if a specific spot comes up, well, maybe I can talk about it, maybe I can go into it, but apart from that, all we're going to do is just look at the action and look at what happened here. So, Jerome, 8-9 offsuit right off the bat in the first spot, you flat against a small blind race. I think that's fairly standard. That's what I would do. Yeah, I'm mostly saying, mostly going to tell you guys what I would do in the spot and what the possible options are, and then look for adjustments or other stuff that you could do that I think might be profitable. And well, in the future, if you have any sessions like this to send in, please feel free to contact me. I mean, I'm gonna pick for Coaching It Up. I'm gonna be picking stuff kind of at random, not really at random, but I'm usually just picking the stuff that gets up to me on time. So if somebody sends in a session and I'm just about to do a new Coaching It Up episode, then of course that comes in handy, and I'm just gonna, pick that and use it as footage for the session. So in case you have sent me stuff, you've sent me hands, and I haven't used them yet, that's nothing personal or anything, or it's nothing like, it just didn't come in at the right time, maybe. But I'm definitely gonna try and catch up with stuff that you guys sent me, and if I find it interesting, then I'm definitely gonna put it out there. So please keep sending it in. Don't be frustrated if one or the other boom hand or one or the other video might not make it up here, but I just got to be selective to what comes in handy, what I can use, and what I'll put up here. So 4-5, oh, that's pretty aggressive. I like it. I mean, you can steal. So with the 8-9, I think you can actually just take a stab. If he checks, he probably doesn't have much, and we have 9 high, so there's no real chance for us to win the pot other than by betting. So I think I would just bet the flop, but betting the turn is certainly fine too. Now I think betting the turn on the king is actually less likely to get us folds, because now people might be inclined to call with ace high more often. So I guess that should be something. That's something to be said. Now the 8-9 offsuit here, that's a little loose. I guess from the button that would be fine, but that would certainly be a little bit too loose. And now that's a sweet flop. Good thing is we can pretty much exclude that anybody has ace king in that spot, because most of these guys will 3-bet ace king pre-flop. So I guess we have close to the nuts. We pretty much have the nuts. Maybe somebody has king 9, but we also have a 9 in our hand, so that blocks some of those combos, and we bet in the standard size. Yeah, that looks fine. Queen 9, easy open, and Jerome checks the flop on a coordinated texture here, I think I would just go ahead and bet this. It's just way too coordinated. I think there's a lot of stuff that will give us action if we bet, and there's some stuff that might just check back. So I mean, there's a flush draw, there's a couple of straight draws, there's a gutter, there's an open-ender. So I think I'd just bet. I mean, in a blind-on-blind situation, I can definitely see merits to checking here. Should be alright. Both are fine. I think if I had to pick a tiebreaker between betting and checking, I would use the stakes that I play, and if it's micro stakes, if it's 5NL or something, I'm just gonna go ahead and bet, because I feel like people are not aggressive enough to make it worthwhile checking so that you can actually make more money from them betting. Well, now that the flop went check, we checked the turn. I think we called the turn, is that right? Let me check. No, the turn went check as well. And now I think it's time to value bet, actually. I mean, now we checked twice, and it's pretty unlikely that he has much. He probably has no ace. He probably has no queen. He probably has maybe some pair. Maybe he bluffs on the river, so there is some merit to checking as well. It's close. It's close. I'll put out a bet sometime. I just feel like people are not bluffing enough. So we have another visitor. Hello, Cat. Are you gonna watch this with us? Now I think we just have to call this pretty much. Giving up right here at the bottom with the Jack 8. I think that's against two opponents. That's probably best on a coordinated texture like this. I mean, we kind of asked for this to happen, so we actually have to call now. I think that's fine. Yeah, I like it. And he has an ace some of the time. Well, yeah, sit in my lap. Relax. That Jack 7 suited, I think we can call for one bet in a multi-way pot, closing the action in the big blind. I just feel that that should be profitable. Don't distract me too much. I'm coaching a Grinding It Up member. Please sit quiet. Yeah, completing here is probably fine. Raising the 9-7 as well, and quite a bit of action here. Now, I think I'll probably be missing some of the standard spots pre-flop. I'm not sure. Now, I think... Oh, that was a multi-way pot. Okay, so both blinds called. Now on the turn 7, I think we should just call for one bet. That's just one bet, so... We have a pair of 7s. We could be good sometimes. Even if we are not, we can still make a better hand, and sometimes we'll check it down and we win with a 7. The Queen 8 is a fold on this flop. Now, isolating with 7-8 offsuit against the limper, in regular table games, I don't have anything against it. I do think in Zoom Poker, however, this could be a little bit too loose. I mean, opening 7-8 on the button is perfectly fine. Isolating a mid-stack limper probably is not, for the reason that limpers in Zoom Poker are usually limping tighter ranges, playing more solid hands. And even though we have position, he has a short stack, so we don't have much room to maneuver. And I feel like this is not a great hand to isolate with. Maybe 7-8 suited makes the cut. So now he donks into us, and I think I would be hesitant to raise here. I mean, yeah, raising is probably okay, but given that he only has $2 left, this is the danger that we expose ourselves to. If we now raise and he comes over the top, this would kind of put us into a very, very tough position. And this would bloat the pot to a point where we actually have to get it in on the flop with an open ender, or by the turn maybe, because the money will be, like, the pot will be so big and there won't be much behind. That's the big problem. I mean, if we have deeper stacks here, that's the reason why I like isolating. I mean, I like isolating 7-8 offsuit more with deeper stacks, because we actually have more room to do stuff like this, to raise and put pressure on without having the fear of being raised or being put to a decision for the remaining stack. So I feel like, you know, calling here is probably better, especially given the texture allows for so many better draws and so many hands that will just not fold. Like a 9 is not going to fold, Queen Jack's not going to fold, flush draws are not going to fold, a 10 is not going to fold, like any straight draws are not going to fold. And we have 8 high and he just donks into us. I mean, donking that small probably is weak, yes, but he's never going to fold the flop. And then we're in this spot where we really want to barrel the turn. We want to capitalize on the equity and fold equity and stuff, but really the problem is the stack sizes here. So that's why I feel calling here is a little bit more appropriate. If he checks the turn, we can still bet the turn and then have like more leverage in our hand because the pot is not as big. The pot is only half as big. Queen Jack here should be a call for one bet, as would 10-7 be in my game, but I know that's not for everybody to do, so 10-7 probably a fold, but for one bet I don't fold that. I ain't folding. So that worked out nice. Yeah, I mean, even though he folded, still, like, it would be an awkward spot. Consider this. It would really suck if we bet this turn. Here we go. If we bet this turn and he jams the rest in, we would be getting 250 to 350, something around 340. I need to pay 150. We would get better odds than 1-2. And we wouldn't get the right price to call, but we have a little bit of equity left, and we actually have equity that might, make us the best hand by the river and get paid by a weaker player. So that's unfortunate if we were to bet and get jammed on. That's something that, the stack sizes are just a position that the stack sizes are putting us in that we could avoid by not isolating 7-8 offsuit, that is. Maybe a limp behind sometimes. I mean, I can definitely see some arguments for limping behind weaker players. This certainly makes some sense, at least. The King Jack I would just fold against another gun open. Yeah, from the small blind, that's a good fold. Four, 6 in that position should be a fold. No action on the kings. Too bad. And Ace Jack should be an open. Now the 5-9, I open a lot on the button, and I mean, as we see, people are folding a lot, so I guess it's okay to get away with it. But 9-5 is definitely not one of the hands that I would love to open. So yeah, kings snap call and get it in against Jack 10. That's sweet. Too bad. And he made it straight. Yeah, that happens. Ace Queen, yeah. I'd bet big on this flop. I'd make it bigger. This is just a very coordinated texture, and there's a lot of hands that will call any size bet. Any flush draw, any straight draw, any queen, any jack is going to call regardless of the size. So you could go ahead and just bet 25 and, make more money. So make more money betting big. I think that's really important. Now the 5s, yeah, that should be a flat on the button. I like that. And the King 9 is definitely going to be a raise. Now this is probably close, but I actually don't mind calling here. I don't mind calling because it's not a big price that we have to pay. I mean, this guy's going to fold, so we got to pay 41 into 82, which is, we're getting 1-2, and he still has a full stack behind. He has $5 behind. So I guess flatting here isn't all too bad, given that we have position. Then we have pocket 5s. Pocket 5s can not only make a set, but pocket 5s can also make a straight. I mean, that sounds like I'm kidding, but that's really something to consider. And 5s is definitely going to be, if I have position, I think usually I'm folding pocket pairs to a 3-bet that big, but it's not that big, to be honest. And we still have some money behind, and we can assume that at 5NL, people are going to be reasonably strong. So again, this is probably going to be the tiebreaker for decisions like that, is like the stakes. If I feel like the average opponent is going to be able to give me much more action, or is going to be much weaker, then I'm going to be inclined to make looser calls like this. So he raises with a king 9, gets fold. Ace 9 against raise and a 3-bet. No game. No game there. Ace 4. Probably looking at the fold to 3-bet stat, but I wouldn't do stuff like this at the micros. I don't think there's a lot of money to be made doing fancy 3-bets with stuff like blockers or bluffing pre-flop in general. I think it's just kind of a waste really of energy, because it's tough to make people fold, and most of the money is going to come from big pots, so you should really focus on those, I feel. Now the king queen, I think this can be both a flat call or a 3-bet. Some people like to 3-bet from the small blind exclusively. I like to flat call. King queen is a good hand. King queen offsuit specifically doesn't play all too well in a 3-bet pot out of position. It's okay, but it's not too good. So if we just flat, I think it plays perfectly fine in a single raise pot. But no, I wouldn't fold it against a cutoff raise. I think folding is a little bit too tight, to be honest. I mean, it really depends on the guy. If the guy that opens is really tight, I mean, if we look at this, he looks like a rock. He looks like a rock on 64 hands, but it's only 64 hands, so we can't really interpret a lot into that. By the way, I'm sorry about the numbers being so small and everything. It's just tough to make it any bigger. But you know, I'm not going to focus on stats too much anyways. You know my approach. The grinding it up gang knows it. 7-6 sounds like a decent spot to steal. And queens is going to be interesting. Now, I think it looks like a spot where some people will just go ahead and call. And I think calling is tricky. I think it's going to get you into some trouble there. So I prefer to try and get this heads up and 4-bet in this spot. And maybe even be prepared to 4-bet fold, which would suck because it would hurt to be laying down queens when we haven't seen a flop yet. And we'd be up against aces and kings and then flop a queen and, you know, make some money. But I think at the same time, if we 4-bet and we get called, we can expect action from worse, especially at stakes like 5NL 6 max. And on the other hand, if we get shoved on, I think we can assume that at least one of the guys is going to have a fairly strong range. But nonetheless, I think queens is good enough to 4-bet and even call off. Not be super happy, but I mean, you know, to be honest, everybody's just shoving ace king pre-flop these days. It's just no way around it. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. I don't like flatting for a lot of reasons, and the reason being, this guy is going to be able to continue with his entire range for a profitable amount. I mean, if I would be in a spot, I would be super happy to just take the price, see a flop, see if I flop something decent, and then go with it. And if not, I'm just going to be able to identify that both of my opponents are going to have strong ranges, so I have an easy decision. So this guy is going to be in the perfect sweet spot here to finish the action, and he's going to let in. He's going to be let in for free, pretty much. And you're just giving out kind of a spot where either of these two guys can win a lot of money from you, because they know you're going to have a pretty decently strong hand in that spot. Well, now leading, I like leading. I like leading here. That's good. And I'd definitely call this. Yes. And that's a tricky turn to play. I was just going to say, though, what if the queen of diamonds rolls off from the deck? Oh my god, this is tricky. I don't think we can get value from worse, to be honest. I think we should check here and have him bet. Maybe he turns something into a bluff. Maybe he bets some worse hands himself. I think that checking here is the way to go. I just feel like if we bet this turn, it's just going to look really strong. And now that's even stronger. He min raises us on the turn. So I mean, what types of hands can he really have here? You can have a flush, of course. You can have ace king. You can have a 9. There's a lot of stuff. That's the problem. I mean, identifying what he has is tough because he min raised pre-flop and then just, you know, called after we called. So it's tough to identify what he has. And I think that right now, that's for me, that's probably the reason why I would check the turn as well. Because he can have a wide range, and you can kind of have him bet worse hands, and at the same time not bloat the pot to the point where you just are forced to stack off. Because now, I mean, now he's just putting you into a position where you probably just have to call and see if you improve, and then fold the river for a $1 bet, which sucks. I mean, I'm not folding, I guess. Maybe we could even put the money in, but we'll never be ahead here, I don't think. We will have equity, but we will never be ahead. Somebody says I had the ace of diamonds. That's not nice. That's not a nice thing to say. That's some extra info. Well, you know, if we stick it in here, I don't think we're going to be ahead, like, ever. But also it's going to be tough to fold for $1 more, so yeah. And we actually let this guy in with the Jack 3 suited, and we kind of gave him, we kind of made his play correct by flatting the queens and letting him in. That's pretty much what it is, I feel. So, and I would also check the turn and just have him bet and then reevaluate on the river and maybe check fold the river, and we could save some money there. So I'm not going to comment on too many of the standard spots, I guess, like raising stuff on the button and stealing blinds. I'm not going into pre-flop decisions too much. I think it's just important to focus on the important pots. The rest is kind of, you know, so and so. You can steal, you cannot steal. If you steal and you feel like you're successful with it and people are just folding a lot on average, that's good. That's good. You just got to keep doing it. So the queen jack in a blind on blind, I think this is okay to fold to a 3-bet, even though it's, you know, it's a little. I'm not sure if I feel like at 5NL people are not 3-betting enough bluffs, even in a blind on blind situation. I feel like they're not 3-betting that much, but that might have changed. I haven't played in a while at 5NL. But yeah, as I said, I think given that people are just 3-betting probably what is a very linear range, linear meaning having a lot of strong stuff in that dominates a hand like queen jack, like ace jack and ace queen and king jack. I feel like this is a good fold to make. Queen jack suited I would certainly not pass up on. Well, to address the queens once more, I think it's tough. It's always tough to kind of 4-bet and then face a shove, but that's just something you got to deal with. And I think it's definitely going to be more profitable than letting somebody else in for free and then, you know, getting there on us with a very weak hand and then making a ton of money from our strong hands, because we are strong. He probably knows that because it's a big pot brewing and people are showing interest. And he has all the implied odds of the world, so that's kind of a spot that we don't want to be in. King 10 suited against a big 3-bet. I think at 5NL it's fine to fold this. Definitely c-bet this flop. 2 overs, backdoor flush draw. We always have the nut ace high pretty much, because ace king, ace queen mostly 3-bet. So we have the nut ace high, and I think we have some overcard outs, and the opponent usually doesn't hit these boards, so we can just take it down with a c-bet there. I think you missed out on a c-bet. Jerome. Should be a very standard c-betting spot. Now the jacks, easy raise and take it down. These games are playing so tight, I feel. Jack 10, pretty loose open from that position for sure, but as I say, I mean, these games play pretty tight, so I think that it might actually work. It's okay. Don't talk to me about pre-flop, guys. This is the problem. I mean, pre-flop, I'm kind of a loose monkey anyways. Pre-flop is kind of, you know, it can go this way and that way and that way and this way, and you can be tight and very solid pre-flop and be a big winner, and you can be loosey-goosey and all monkey it up pre-flop and still be a big winner if you play decent post-flop. So It all depends on how you think the games play, how loose you get away with stealing and, you know, buying pots, and how good you are at evaluating your hand strength post-flop when you're facing tough decisions or when you're facing action. Ace 3 is certainly not a standard raise in a cutoff. I would fold this. I would start at like Ace 8 offsuit or Ace 9 offsuit, probably. The King Jack, I think, is good enough to call. Some people prefer to 3-bet this. I prefer to call. And 3-betting is certainly fine. I think it's a min raise, so against a min raise, I like to just play against this entire crappy range, so to say. Well, it's a pretty good board for us. It's ace high, so we can just go ahead and c-bet and hope to take it down. Now that he shoves, I think he's going to have like some medium strength ace, and we can just hit the muck. Now the ace deuce, from under the gun, this is certainly, I mean, I'm certainly better off opening a suited ace over an off-suited one. Like ace 3 from the cutoff I would fold, but ace deuce suited from even an early position, I think it's okay. It's borderline, but it's okay. Really depends on what games you play in. And now I think, yeah, I think it's good to kind of, I mean, this is interesting actually. This could go both ways, raising or calling. I think in this particular instance, I'm not a big fan of raising because I don't expect much fold equity for us. And also I think we should just be inclined to kind of brew a bigger pot here and try and get things into perspective more with another guy coming in, because we have the nut flush draw and we would profit from people joining the pot. So I actually feel like calling is a good option, especially against that big of a donk bet size. And if he donks that big, I just feel like he's not inclined to fold. And again, we have that stack size issue that I talked about in the 7-8 hand. It's like when you raise these shorter stacks, they're just less likely to fold. And I guess, you know, keeping the other guy in the pot is also desirable. And that's why I feel like calling is probably a little bit better. Yeah, and that's going to happen quite frequently, and we're just going to get it in because against this short stack we don't have much fold equity. I mean, we're don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with getting it in here on the flop because we have, you know, we have a lot of equity. This is just insane amounts of equity. But at the same time, since we have position and it's a multi-way pot, we can maybe even try to make more money because we're not folding on a turn anyways. I mean, we shouldn't be folding on any turn card. Like that turn, if he bets again, we're just going to call. If we don't get there, we save some money. If we do get there, I think the same concept applies. Hashtag Fischige Spieler is not going to fold, by the way. Speaking of which, I forgot to get my hashtags ready. So, as I say, Fischige Spieler are not going to fold, so we can just call our draw and get the money in when we get there and give up if we don't get there. Next spot coming up is aces. So we got aces, and he donks into us and Jerome raises. Yeah, I mean, on a texture like this, I feel like we should be raising a lot bigger. This is a little bit too small, given there's 5, there's 40 in the pot. We basically bet half the pot, which is not enough. I think we should bet the pot here, because, you know, seriously consider what it's going to call. Any straight draw, flush draw pair is going to call this raise, so why not make it 40? Why not make it double the amount? I think that's a lot more desirable. That's what I would bet. It's my bet size. Actually, it's only going to be a couple more seconds. So this is probably going to be the last hand. And now the 7 on the turn rolls off. This is just a bad card for our range. It is going to make him a lot of 2-pair and sets like pocket 7s and 7-6 and 7-5 and whatnot, and some straights and pocket 8s. And, you know, this is just going to be a clear check back. I don't think we should bet here. Yeah, checking back is good. Yeah, That's fine. And probably folding depending on if or what he bets. Like if he bets really big, I think I can be considering folding. If he bets that small, I think we can fold. And yeah, he's like a small straight, but given that he bet this small, I don't think we should be folding there. I mean, let me check. Did the flush get there? Oh yeah, the flush got there. Oh, I didn't see that. I actually think this might change a little bit. This might change things a little bit. I mean, if he bets that small, it looks like he's looking for some thin value, maybe with a hand like 2 pair. I mean, I'm always a fan of calling with pot odds, and you know, Olivia and me, we both hate folding. I mean, if you haven't seen it already, she has it sewed into her back. So I hate folding, and especially I hate folding against fischige Spieler. So stand right up there, Olivia. Don't fall down. Well, yeah, I mean, I can definitely see some arguments for folding here now. Even the flush got there, so we're not beating anything really. It's just a bad board in general. So that's that. And let me just get this out of the way. I hope you enjoyed this little coaching it up session. Olivia didn't. She just fell off her chair. She just thought, I hate folding. I hate folding that pocket aces. Why did you fold that pocket aces hand? Why did you want to fold this? Well, anyways, I think some stuff to take from this session probably is minding the shortest stack sizes. So something to Jerome. Minding the shortest stack sizes and not attacking them too deliberately, because they will just end up shoving and sticking it in all the time. They just hate folding just like we do. And if you raise them, they're just gonna, you know, go nuts with their little stack, because that's what they are looking to do. They want to get their money in. Only got $2 left. On the very loose side with the steals, I'm not sure if that's, you know, you might want to check that maybe, but I could be wrong. Well, it really depends on how people are reacting. If you think you're getting enough folds with all your steals and raises, certainly check your raises from the earlier positions. Button and small blind, not so important, but the other positions definitely, like, you know. Well, anyways, that was Jerome's session. Where's Todd, by the way? So we're gonna put the Todd reward sign up to end this episode with. So $1 karma reward is what I put out for the return of Todd. Well, thanks Jerome for sending in your 5NL session. I hope that was interesting to you to hear me talk about what I would do or how you played your hands. And if you guys have, as always, more boom hands sessions, whatever you like me to have a look at. Some people even asked me if I would do some MTT reviews or SNG reviews. I mean, I can certainly do that, but I'm no expert on this, and so you got to bear with me when I talk crap about MTTs or SNGs, pretty much. But well, if you want me to review them, if you want to hear my thoughts, I mean, after all, we play no limit hold'em poker, Texas Hold'em, no limit. I'm all up for that. So just let me know, shoot me a message, you know, all the channels here. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and come to Twitch. I haven't actually added the Twitch link. So that's it for now. I'll finish this with some bloopers. So see you guys next time, and keep grinding it up. Hey guys.